Gentleman from Florida, Mr. Posey, recognized for his questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, witnesses. It's a fascinating testimony, fascinating written testimony. I hated for it to end, actually. Wish you could have added some more pages to your testimony. It was fun to read, very enjoyable. I think, you've pretty much indicated that life on other planets is inevitable. It's just a matter of time and funding, and clearly that's it. If our species survives long enough, and I wonder, a question to the three of you, what you see as the greatest dangers to life on Earth?
Well, we've had the recent experience of the fireball over Russia. I would have to say that the asteroid impacts are a danger. We have, there's a range of material coming in. We are like a pinball machine, and we're in outer space. The Earth is in outer space. And you have all this material coming in, and occasionally a larger one comes in, as over Russia. But it's entirely possible, as evidenced by some of the craters on the Earth, the ones that wiped out the dinosaurs, they happen over much longer periods. But I believe that's one of the motivations for human space flight, is to get at least some of us off the Earth in case there's a catastrophic event such as that.
Well, we do like to believe with, sort of the current, we do like to think with our current resources of monitoring asteroids that we will find something big before it finds us. But that's certainly an important area to keep up. If I can give my personal opinion, I think overpopulation of our planet is going to be our biggest problem.
Okay.
And I would say with all systems that resources, particularly essential resources, can be limiting. And so I think as we look other places for alternative energy or other means to support a large population, that's a threat to the U.S. Our planet.
Okay. Conditions on other planets are going to seem harsh at first, and we know in history conditions on planet Earth have been harsh. If we came here or explored Earth 64 million years ago, we'd say, wow, it's too cold. And if we were 65 million years ago, we might say, wow, it's too hot. So I guess there's going to be windows of opportunity on the other planets too. Any comment on that?
Well, it's one of the great things about this research being done just in the last 2 decades on life in extreme environments, just how tenacious life is, in extreme temperatures and under the oceans in these hydrothermal vents at extreme temperatures and pressures. You find not only microbial life, but these long tube worms. Yeah. I mean, it's just amazing where it seems wherever conditions are possible, and by conditions I mean a much broader range than we used to have, that life does arise, and arise fairly quickly.
Okay.
I would say that we talk about life in extreme environments, and I'll note that it's mostly microbial, and it's mostly extreme by our own reference. So it's an anthropocentric definition of what is extreme, because in fact we have had the capability to inhabit warm places, cold places, because of our technology. We basically bring everything back to conditions that support a comfortable life for humans. And so exploration, colonization on other planets in harsh environments will require that we do the same. We're not going to suddenly develop the capability to live at, over the temperature of boiling water. We'll have to make our local environment hospitable to ourselves, and we have that technology now.
Dr. Sager?
I'm going to defer on that question.
Okay. What do you believe was the highest historical temperature on the surface of Earth prior to the extinction of the dinosaurs, Dr. Dick?
It's hard to say. That's not my area of expertise, but I can say that on Venus, for example, the temperature is now 900 degrees Fahrenheit, with a sulfuric acid rain and very harsh conditions. And Mars, of course, is much colder now than the Earth. So one of the goals of astrobiology is to try and figure out how planets that seem to be so similar in the past have diverged.
Dr. Seeger?
No, one thing I always tell my students is that every day is like a PhD defense. So I actually don't remember that number off the top of my head.
Okay. Dr. Voitek?
Ditto. Except that, you know, as you mentioned yourself, Earth has experienced extremes in environmental conditions from the early formation. And so certainly environmental conditions well beyond the limits of human life.
But these changes do happen very slowly, and we believe that life will adapt.
Well, thank you all very much for your testimony. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you, Mr.